Hi, my name is Christian and today I will talk about how to keep cloud applications validated in medtech and pharma. Do you miss spending time in cramped offices and public transport? I definitely don't. I rather like to have the option to work from everywhere, like doing this presentation from a cozy home. In the center of making this possible stands cloud technologies. But that's not the only and biggest advantage of cloud. There are a lot of others. First of all, we have the opportunity to use off-the-shelf solutions. That means that we spend less time developing our applications or our solutions. We don't need in-house infrastructure. That means that we have less maintenance and lower development costs. Cloud-based solutions are also highly scalable. That means you pay only what you really need and only now. With cloud technologies, you will also be able to generate new business models, for instance, pay-per-use, and therefore having new revenue streams. And last, but definitely not least, it's easier to build applications in the cloud than on-premise. Therefore, your time to market is lower and you might have an edge over your competition. With all that benefit, why do we in medical and pharma not also use cloud wherever possible? Some are afraid that validation costs might be just too high and therefore it would be impossible to go into the cloud with our solutions and our products. From our perspective, new does not mean impossible. So what then can you do if you really want to go into the cloud? First of all, don't panic. Stop thinking about the possible issues which might come with cloud technologies. Breathe and think, how can you make your cloud applications safe and keep them safe? This is the main part of this presentation. And then last, act. Make a plan and stick to that plan. If you follow those simple steps, it should be possible that the naysayers change their minds and give you the opportunity to show them that cloud technologies, even in medtech or pharma, can be done and can be safely done. In this presentation, I will now go into some basic considerations, what you should do and what you should think about. First of all, I would like to talk about which different types of projects we might face in the regulated environment. Most can be differentiated between software as a medical device or the world of GXP. So for instance, Jira, which is used to track issues. Both share some common ground. They both need an infrastructure which lives or will live in the cloud. That includes databases, operating system, and so on. Those systems, they need to be validated with classical CSV or also some qualification based on that. On top of those, we have the computer system validation for software off the shelf, like Jira or other tools which can be just bought. Another option is that you have or you are developing cloud software as a medical device, and there you have your classic validation and verification process, which is part of your quality system. For both types of projects and products, we propose a simple process. First, we start with the regulatory requirements, which are the basis for everything we usually do. Those requirements usually are divided in classic requirements, what shall a product do, and risk requirements. Those two types then can be divided into groups. One group are the ones which can be tested automatically. The other group are the ones which need manual validation or the ones which are easier to be validated manually. When you have done this differentiation, the ones who are automatable will then be fed into a test runner. The test runner runs those tests based on time or other triggers and generates some data. The ones which need manual validation, they obviously are validated manually, and both then create some data. Depending on the project or solution we talked about earlier, the data then will flow into the technical file or the QM system. For certain solutions and projects, we have both. That some data will go into the technical file and some data will go into the QM system. To finish this short presentation, I would like to give you some take-home messages. First, identify risks as early as possible and mitigate them. Identify the ones which are critical to quality. Test the ones which are very critical on a regular basis. Use automation where feasible, but don't automate everything, because that's most probably going to cost you just too much money in the end. Use existing tools from cloud vendors, because a lot of it is already done and ready to use. Cloud vendors usually also provide you patterns. Use them because they are there and usually free. Supervise your cloud applications or your solution often, because cloud applications and especially their infrastructure change often. Sometimes you get a heads up, sometimes you don't. Have a plan ready how to supervise your applications or your cloud. And obviously follow that plan. Use cloud service provider management artifacts. For instance, perform audits, request certificates. And last, but definitely not least, don't be afraid. What was not feasible a couple of years ago might be feasible now, or most probably is feasible now due to cloud technology. Inspect and adapt. Continuously check what you have done and what you will do, and adapt your plan according to your learnings. And then download and read our white paper.